Hey y'all, so this is how I make some really easy skillet chicken enchiladas. For this, we're just going to be making the filling, putting it on the tortillas, rolling them up, and eating them. But if you want, as you can see in this picture here, as I usually do, you can put your enchilada sauce in your pan, roll them up, put it on top, add some sauce and cheese, and then just throw it in the oven until the cheese is nice and melted. First off, let's start with a rotisserie chicken. Now, I don't know exactly how many cups of chicken this is going to give you. I got my chicken at Ingles. If you get yours at Costco or some other place, they may weigh differently, thus giving you more chicken or less chicken. But this was roughly 6 cups. And I just shredded it up, took it off the bone, and then placed it in the lid that it came in so as not to dirty up a bowl. So in my pan here, I'm just throwing in some butter. I'll have the recipe for you down in the description box and also in the pinned comments. So I threw the butter in here, and we're going to let this get nice and melted. Next, I'm going to be adding in some chicken broth. You can use chicken broth, vegetable broth, chicken stock, whatever you have. I wouldn't say to use chicken bouillon because that can be just a little bit too salty. So for this, I'm going to be using some chicken broth. I'm using roughly a cup and a half. Like I said, it all depends on how much chicken you have, but I'm doing this based off of 6 cups of chicken. So I'm just going to dump that in there, and now I'm going to add in 4 ounces of this cream cheese. I know somebody's going to say it, well, this is an awful lot of cheese in this dish, but listen, this is really a keto dish, and you know keto is really high fat. So we're going to be putting cream cheese and some more cheese in here later, but we're putting that in there, and I'm just going to let that come to a simmer and let that cream cheese get nice and soft. You can chop it up into pieces if you like to help it out, so it can get softer quicker. We want this meal to be quick and easy. Now let's throw in some spices. We have onion powder, garlic powder, cumin, chili powder, and some smoked paprika. Just throw all that in there and give it a good stir, and then let it come back to a rolling simmer. Now I'm going to add in some tomato paste. This is going to give it a little bit more depth and help the sauce to thicken up just a little bit more. So we're just going to dump that in there and give it a good stir. Now, you want your sauce to be nice and smooth and creamy, and that can be a little bit difficult when you're using cream cheese like this. So I'm going to use this whisk, and we're just going to whisk it up and make sure all of the tiny little pieces of cream cheese have completely melted and incorporated itself into the sauce. Now that all of that has been incorporated and we're right at the end here, we're going to add in some sour cream. Now, I usually add in a little bit more than this, but I'm just using whatever I have left in the refrigerator. So I'm just going to scoop that in there and give it a good stir. Once again, bringing out the whisk because we really want to make sure that this is nice and creamy and there's no little lumps of anything in there. Now we're going to add our chicken in. Try to be so careful when you do this because we all know how juicy and tender these rotisserie chickens are, right? If you put the chicken in there and you're really rough and you just start whisk, 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 or just stir, 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 your chicken can break apart into tiny little pieces, and then you're going to have something more like a buffalo dip. Now, if this is what you're going for, that's absolutely fine. You can shred your chicken up even finer than this and just whip it all together, and it makes a really good dip. But we're going to be putting this on some tortillas, and I want the chicken to kind of be in bigger pieces. Now, if you want to, you can add some salt to this. Yes, this is my salt grinder. I don't know why they put a light on it, but they put a light on it, so I'm just going to roll with it. But we're going to add some salt to it. And now the last thing that we need to do is add some shredded cheese and let that cheese melt. Like I said earlier, this is basically a keto dish, so yes, it's going to have a lot of fat and calories in it, hardly any carbs. So I'm just going to put the cheese on here, and then we're going to put the lid on it. Turn the heat down to about medium, and then you're just going to let this cheese melt. It takes 4 to 5 minutes, and once the cheese is melted, it's pretty much done. You could put it on tortillas. Like I said earlier, you can use that as a dip if you like to. But I have my low-carb tortillas. The kids have their regular ones, and I know it doesn't look pretty. It doesn't look very good at all, but believe me, it really is good. I'm going to go ahead and call this done. Look at all that bubbly, cheesy goodness. It is so, so good. Like I said, we're going to use also tortillas. It's also good with tortilla chips. But yeah, it doesn't look very good. It's not very pretty, but it is good. You can add taco sauce to this if you like. You can add more cheese, whatever you like. Hope you like it.